Welcome back to Centrelink Insider. It is January 2026, and I want you to imagine a scenario that has unfortunately become the reality for far too many Australians this month. You wake up expecting your fortnightly age pension or JobSeeker payment, let's say, that critical $1,100 that covers your rent and groceries. You log into your banking app, and the balance is zero. You rush to log into MyGov, but your password doesn't work. By the time you get through to a human operator at Services Australia, after waiting on hold for 3 hours, you are told that your bank details were changed last week. Your money, your lifeline, has been diverted to an offshore account, and the system believes it was you who authorized it. If you are a pensioner, a student, or a family receiving benefits, stop scrolling right now. This is not a drill. We are seeing a massive spike in account takeover fraud this year. And the government's response is the mandatory rollout of the new 2026 Digital ID framework. If you do not understand how this works, you are leaving the door to your financial house wide open. Today, I am going to walk you through exactly why the old password system has collapsed, and how this new digital shield is the only thing standing between you and financial ruin. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Is this mandatory digital ID system a violation of privacy? Or is it the ultimate safety net? The answer is complex. It is a necessary intrusion. Many of you are asking, do I really have to scan my face just to get my pension? The short answer, as of the 2026 policy update, is effectively yes. While there are technically offline alternatives, the government has made the digital route the primary and essentially the only viable pathway for managing your payments efficiently. But here is the critical distinction you need to understand. This isn't just about the government watching you, it is about the government proving that you are you. The old system relied on static knowledge, things you know, like a password or your mother's maiden name. The problem? Hackers know those things too. They bought that data on the dark web years ago. The new system shifts from what you know to who you are. If you resist this change due to privacy concerns, you are paradoxically protecting your privacy with a cardboard door while thieves are using battering rams. You must accept that the era of simple password protection for government benefits is officially over. Let's talk about the timeline and the invisible decay of your account security if you delay action. We are currently in what Services Australia calls the transition phase. In these early months of 2026, you might still be able to log in with your old username and password. This creates a dangerous safety illusion. You think, my account works fine, I don't need to set up the digital ID. This is a trap. Behind the scenes, accounts that have not migrated to the strong identity strength level are being flagged as high risks by the automated fraud detection algorithms. This means that if you try to update your details later, say, you move house or change banks, the system might block the transaction because your trust score is too low. It is an implicit decay mechanism. The longer you wait to upgrade your security, the less functionality your account has. You won't lose your payment immediately, but you will lose the ability to manage it. Eventually, you will be forced into a physical service center queue, wasting hours of your life, simply because you missed the digital threshold. To understand why this is happening, we need to look at the historical tenure principle. The new digital ID system doesn't just look at your current login, it looks at the entire history of your existence in the Australian administrative system. When you set up your digital ID to strong level, you are essentially linking your digital presence to your physical anchor documents, your Australian passport, your birth certificate, your driver's license. The system calculates a trust score based on how long these documents have been valid and how they cross-reference with each other. This is where the protection kicks in. A hacker in a basement overseas might have your password, but they cannot replicate the 10-year history of your biometric passport photo. They cannot forge the digital handshake between the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade and Centrelink. By linking these historical credentials, you are building a moat around your payments. The system rewards this transparency with security. It is a proportional exchange. The more historical data you verify, the harder it becomes for anyone else to impersonate you. This brings us to the most controversial but effective part of the 2026 update, intent-based status determination via biometrics. You have likely heard about the liveness check, where you have to hold your phone up and scan your face. This is not just taking a selfie. The technology is analyzing micro-movements, skin texture, and depth perception to ensure you are a living, breathing human being and not a deep-fake video or a high-resolution mask. The system is judging your state of being. This is crucial because in 2025, we saw AI bots capable of bypassing traditional captchas and security questions. The new rule is simple. If the biometric data doesn't match the anchor document, like your passport photo, the account is locked instantly. This is why your status is no longer static. You aren't just verified once, you are verified every time you perform a high-value transaction, like changing that bank account destination. It is a dynamic defense that adapts to the threat level of the action you are taking. We must also discuss the uncomfortable reality of cross-border surveillance and data sharing. Many people believe that what happens on their phone stays on their phone. That is naive. The 2026 Digital ID Framework integrates real-time signals from telecommunication providers. This is designed to stop SIM swapping attacks. If a scammer manages to port your mobile number to their phone to intercept your SMS codes, the telco notifies the digital ID system immediately and your Centrelink account is frozen before a cent can be stolen. Furthermore, the system analyzes geolocation data anomalies. If you usually log in from Sydney and suddenly there is a login attempt from a device with an IP address routed through a suspicious VPN or an overseas location, the compliance blind spot is illuminated and access is denied. This isn't just about catching people overseas, it is about protecting you from international crime syndicates. If you try to hide your location or use obfuscation tools, you might accidentally trigger these fraud filters, locking yourself out of your own money. Now, let's look at the operational logistics, the actual money flow. How does this protect your wallet? The new system enforces a name mismatch protocol. In the past, you could technically direct your Centrelink payments to a bank account that wasn't strictly in your name, or scammers could direct it to a mule account. Under the 2026 rules, the name on your digital ID must perfectly match the name on the bank account receiving the funds. If a scammer hacks your account and tries to change the deposit details to their account, the system runs an instant real-time payment check. If the names don't match, the transfer is rejected, and an alert is sent to your verified device. This creates a closed loop. It introduces a physical and economic risk for the scammer because their mule accounts get burned instantly. However, this also means you need to ensure your details are perfectly aligned across all institutions. If you go by Bob at the bank but Robert at Centrelink, you might face payment delays. What happens if you ignore all this and Redo ID get hacked? We need to talk about reverse process latency. This is the nightmare scenario nobody tells you about. If your account is compromised under the old system, recovering it in 2026 is exponentially harder than before. Because the security standards have been raised, proving you are the rightful owner after a breach requires a higher burden of proof. You aren't just resetting a password, you are undergoing a full identity reconstruction. This can take weeks. During this latency period, your payments are frozen to protect the taxpayer. You could be left without income for 28 days or more while investigations take place. By setting up the digital ID'd Suverno before a breach occurs, you are establishing the credentials that allow for a fast-track recovery. You are pre-validating your rescue boat before the ship sinks. Consider also the collateral erosion of your ancillary benefits. Your Centrelink account is the master key to a much larger ecosystem. If a scammer gains access, they don't just steal your pension. They can access your Medicare data, view your prescription history, and even steal your tax return information from the ATO. We have seen cases where scammers used stolen identities to take out loans or claim false medical rebates. The loss of your digital trust ripples out. You could lose your concession card eligibility while the investigation is pending, meaning you pay full price for medicines and transport. The cost of a hacked account is not just the missing payment, it is the administrative chaos that engulfs every other aspect of your life. The digital ID acts as a firewall, segregating these services so that a breach in one area doesn't necessarily catastrophe in another, provided you have the highest security settings enabled. So, what does continuous compliance look like for you? It means the days of set and forget are over. You have an active obligation to keep your digital house in order. The system effectively performs vitality verification periodically. You must ensure your linked mobile number is always current. If you change your number and forget to update MyGov immediately, you risk being locked out during a critical step-up authentication challenge. The system interprets silence or unreachable contact details as a potential security threat. We recommend a digital health check every 3 months. Log in, check your linked devices, review your activity history. If you see a login time that doesn't make sense, report it immediately. Your active participation is the fuel that keeps the security engine running. Here is your defensive action plan. Do not wait for the next news report about a pensioner losing their savings. Action this today. Step 1. Download the MyGovIt app and elevate your identity strength to strong by scanning your passport and verifying your face. Step 2. Log into your MyGov account and disconnect any old unused devices from your history. Step 3. Enable passkeys if your device supports it. This uses your fingerprint or Face ID instead of a password, which is phish-proof. And finally, have a conversation with your family. If you have elderly parents, sit down with them this weekend and help them set this up. They are the primary targets. This system is designed to protect us, but it only works if we engage with it. Don't let your hard-earned benefits become a scammer's payday. Share this video with anyone who relies on Centrelink. You might just save them a world of pain. Stay safe, stay verified, and I'll see you in the next update.